If you had $1,000, how much to put inside Ascended Heroes versus Evolving Skies? This is the video for you. Before we go on, pause the video and check out the disclaimer. Please read carefully.
Remember, this is not financial advice. Please do your own research.
So this is a huge set battle, Ascended Heroes versus Evolving Skies. At one point, I remember when Evolving Skies came out, people thought, wow, nothing is going to top this, especially for modern. But here we are. I think there's a strong shout for Ascended Heroes to topple the mighty Evolving Skies.
Indeed, indeed. We are only partway through the Mega era, but it seems as though we have a new sort of undisputed champion of this Mega era so far, which is the Ascended Heroes set. This is going to be a very exciting set battle, and we can't wait to get into it.
So before that, pause the video again to check out some of the facts. I'm not going to read out everything, but if you want to know some of the basic stuff, pause the video. So the way we're going to do it is we're going to first review what is our allocation split, myself and Paul. So now, if I had $1,000, how would I split up my money between these two sets? And the answer is 60% versus 40% in favor of Ascended Heroes. Now for Paul,
I'm actually going with 50-50, and these are reasons that I'll go through later on to explain why that is.
So the first reason, Paul, to me is that Ascended Heroes has at least 4 top 10 Pokemons when it comes to popularity and of course value as well, versus Evolving Skies 3. And if you look at Ascended Heroes, you have the Pikachu, 2 types of Pikachu. You have the Dragonite, you have Gengar, and don't forget, you also have the Gold Charizard Y.
Exactly, not to mention the alternate to the Team Rocket's Mewtwo EX.
Exactly.
That's another really, really nice one.
Yes, totally forgot that one. Now, when you compare to Evolving Skies, it's mainly the Rayquaza, the Umbreon, and the Dragonite, right?
That's right, that's right.
And the Umbreon is sort of like closer to a top 5 thing, whereas Rayquaza and Dragonites are in the bottom half of the top 10 typically.
Yes, that is quite true actually. Unfortunate, but it is quite true.
So I think that's the first thing. I think when we are looking at, which set is going to perform better, the more chase cards, the more desirable Pokemons there are, probability-wise is going to do better.
Exactly. The more chance to pull things that are meaningful, I think is what we're looking at here.
So then, building on to that, the second reason is that there are more SIRs in Ascended Heroes versus alternate arts in Evolving Skies. And my personal opinion is the backbenchers. So these are like the tier 2 cards. With Ascended Heroes, you have the MARs, the Mega Attack Rares, versus the Rainbow cards in Evolving Skies. And my humble opinion is that the MAR look a lot better and people will actually be more receptive to it versus the Rainbow cards.
Exactly. I think the Rainbow cards, they're basically just recolors of the full arts, aren't they? Whereas the MARs, the Mega Attack Rares, are actually uniquely designed.
And it's also an homage to the first generation of Mega sets, where you have the words.
First era. Yes.
Yeah, both the Japanese and the English will flip the languages, right?
Exactly. Which I think is a very, very nice homage, as MJ said.
Now, the third reason is that, it's not really a reason, but it's more an explanation that, I think the artworks, I'm not going to pick one. It's like picking your favorite child. It's very difficult. I cannot argue that the Trikachu looks better than the Moonbreon, vice versa. So I'm going to give it a tie here. However, one thing I feel that Evolving Skies has over Ascended Heroes is that it feels more master settable because it has sequences that kind of makes a lot more sense. So
For example, there's certainly a very clear theme to Evolving Skies, I think.
Exactly. So when you look at, just to pick one, like the Sylveon, right? The Sylveon has 6 different variations.
That's right.
All the way from the alternate art to just the normal like EX or Vs, right?
Yes.
Whereas when you look at Ascended Heroes, you get a lot more breadth, there's a lot more SIR, there's a lot more variation, but there's not much connectivity. So for example, if I get a Mega Frostless, I'm not inclined to go and get the Feraligatr. There's no link apart from the fact one is ice and water, right? And
the fact that they are both Mega Evolutions, I suppose.
Yeah, but these are like a bit stretching, right?
That's right. It's a little bit of a stretch, but you could also say that they are 2 new Mega Evolutions for existing Pokemon. I think that's an interesting thing to consider. So if you wanted to collect the Legends ZA Mega Evolutions, maybe there is a loose link there.
Yes, but when you really compare it to the Evolving Skies, there's a lot more repetition.
Exactly, there's a very clear theme.
Yeah, if I pull the Rayquaza with Zinnia, I'm gonna have to pull the VMAX. I'm going to get the others as well.
Exactly.
So I feel like that's something that Evolving Skies have over Ascended Heroes. However, one thing that for sure Ascended Heroes has over Evolving Skies is a waifu factor. If you look at the cards, like for example, Erika's Tangela, you have Ionos Watro, and also the Bellybot, I believe. You have Kanari, which is a new waifu, right?
Yes, yes, from the
Lily's
ZA,
Clefairy, you have Marnie's Grimmsnarl, you have Iris card, you have Cynthia's, even Cynthia's there, Spiritomb.
Exactly, Cynthia Spiritomb. Yeah.
The big question is who isn't there, you know? Like I can think of in terms of waifus, right? Like maybe Nurse Joy is not there or Karen is not there. But by and large, you know, the big ones are there. Whereas when you look at Evolving Skies, mainly it's Xenia and Aroma Lady. And perhaps there are a few that I didn't mention, but it's really a minority.
Exactly, and I think it's so smart that Pokemon did this. You know, it's not a waifu card that is just a single trainer on a card. They include it with a Pokemon that is fairly popular as well. I think it's very genius.
Exactly.
You can buy the card both for the waifu and for the Pokemon itself.
So this is more for the cards and the chasers. But when I look at the sealed, personally, I think the Ascended Heroes ETB looks better than the ones in Evolving Skies. Right?
Yes, it certainly is more eye-catching than the Evolving Skies ETBs.
It's because when I look at the Evolving Skies one, I get partially confused, right? Because I see 4 Pokemons there. There's no standout. Whereas with the Ascended Heroes one, it's like very clear Mega Dragonite, right?
That's right. It's
absolutely
right front and center.
Yes,
It
so
looks great.
I would go for, in terms of sealed, prioritize Ascended Heroes. However, my view is that the Evolving Skies booster boxes actually look really nice with
Oh,
the
yes, for
Rayquaza.
sure, for sure,
It's
yeah.
very classic, right? It's
Yes,
the
for
Rayquaza
sure, for sure.
green. One thing that Ascended Heroes has that Evolving Skies does not is the bundle displays, which are region exclusive. And
Yep.
typically, the price per bundle within these bundle displays have a 15 to 20% premium. So in the current market in Malaysia, where we are, one box roughly now is 400 ringgit, which is about $100, give or take.
Exactly.
But if you buy the bundle display, which is 10 of them, you'd have to fork out roughly 5 to 5.5 thousand ringgit, which in US dollar term is about 1,002, 1,003.
Exactly. But very interestingly, the international price for these region exclusive
Yeah, it's
booster bundle
crazy.
cases is absolutely wild.
It's like 2,000.
It is at the time of this recording, I believe it is over 2,500 USD,
That's crazy.
which is absurd. You know?
That's 2 Pikachus,
Yes,
you know, basically.
actually insane.
So yeah, there's a lot of depth, right, to both. But I feel
Yes.
that this is where Ascended Heroes has a bit of Asian. That's why you can see I'm 60% versus 40%.
Exactly.
Now, one thing that's a negative point for me when it comes to Ascended Heroes is that the prices move up really, really quickly. So if you compare the raw Moonbryon versus the raw Trikachu, the raw Trikachu is currently sitting at about 1,002, 1,150 US dollars versus the Moonbryon, which is about 2,000, give or take. This is really almost 60% of the Moonbryon price, but just as a reminder, Evolving Skies came out in 2021, right? A long time ago, but Ascended Heroes is not even 6 months old.
Wow, it's been 5 years. It's been that long.
Yes, and
That
I
is
did
insane.
it's about 4.7 years, right?
Yeah, that's
Moonbryon.
right. That's right.
But when you look at the ETB prices as well, they pretty much achieve in, let's say, 1 quarter or 3 months, what Evolving Skies took approximately 2 years to achieve when it comes to the ETB.
Yeah.
So there's signs of market froth, and that's why it seems to be that it's not that attractive. So another key point is this: the Pokemon Center ETBs price versus the normal ETBs for Evolving Skies is about 2. So you can spend about $1,000 for, I think, one ETB, and then it's 2,000. Sorry, one Pokemon Center, and then the normal is about 2,000 something. So it's
Right.
about 2, right? The ratio.
Right.
Whereas when you look at the normal ETBs for Ascended Heroes, the ratio is about 3. When you
Wow,
compare.
I actually did not know that. That's
Yeah.
actually
So in
crazy
ringgit
ratio.
terms, it's about 2,500 for
Yes.
the Pokemon Center,
ETB,
right?
yeah.
No tears, nothing.
Right.
Which is for our international viewers, that's like what, $800, give or take.
Yes. Yep.
Whereas the ETBs at about $200.
Right.
No, not $800. About about $300.
I think it's a bit less than that. I think the Ascended Heroes ETBs currently are sitting at about 180 US dollars.
Yes. Okay, let me repeat this point. Sorry. So the Ascended Heroes Pokemon Center ETBs,
Yep.
the ratio is about 3. So it's 3 times more valuable compared to the normal one. Whereas if you compare it to the Evolving Skies, it's about 2.
Right.
So if you're talking about value play, you want to focus on the Evolving Skies.
For sure.
So of course, there are some similarities between both sets. I think the first is that they have very similar pull rates. I think 1,005 versus about 1,007 for any specific SIR or alternate art respectively. Gem rates are also quite similar. I believe the ones in Ascended Heroes are about 10% higher for the top chasers, the top 3 chasers. Both have massive that, so there's no debate about that. And one thing very unique is that both are launched in anniversary years. So with Evolving Skies, it's the celebrations,
Right.
and then it'll be the 30th anniversary, which we yet don't know the name quite yet. So what this means, it implies, is that there's, first of all, both these sets are high demand upon release and enduring. But because they're clashing with the anniversary year, there's a good chance the Pokemon company will want to focus their print more on the anniversary stuff versus Ascended Heroes or Evolving Skies, which in theory should constrict the supply a little bit when it comes to printing.
Yep. Right.
Okay, Paul, how about you?
All right, so for me, comparing the two sets, Ascended Heroes and Evolving Skies, Ascended Heroes features all new mega variants of already existing Pokemon such as Feraligatr, Frostlass, Meganium, and so on. And I believe that the public sentiment for this is that Mega Evolutions are a much more popular mechanic and design than G-Max Pokemon that were the signature of the Sword and Shield era. So in addition to the new Mega Evolution SIRs and the Mega Evolution Mega Attack rares, we also get, SIRs of really nicely illustrated special illustration rares of existing regular Pokemon such as Pikachu EX and Team Rocket's Mewtwo EX as well. As MJ also mentioned, each Ascended Heroes features better variety of popular Pokemon chasers. The Gengar, the Mega Gengar EX SIR, for example, the Mewtwo, the Pikachu, the Dragonite, and even a gold Mega Charizard Y. Okay, and the next thing that I'd like to talk about, the difference between these two sets, Ascended Heroes and Evolving Skies, is the ripping experience, meaning the pack opening experience. The absence of illustration rares and trainer gallery rares in Evolving Skies makes for a much poorer ripping experience overall. Yes, granted, as MJ mentioned, the pull rates of the alternate arts and the SIRs in Ascended Heroes are fairly similar, but if you miss pulling an SIR out of a booster box, you are not really getting rewarded in any other way in terms of Evolving Skies. If you don't pull an SIR out of Evolving Skies, it is basically Evolving Cries. Whereas in Ascended Heroes, you have many chances to pull at least something nice, something that you can see, oh, that's a very nice artwork, because Ascended Heroes contains illustration rares, which can be, in itself, it could be considered a very rewarding experience to pull some of these. As we also have, in the middle tier of rarity, the Mega Attack rares, which MJ has also mentioned, which also look very, in my opinion, very visually appealing. So even if you do not pull an SIR out of your ETB, still fine. Chances are you're going to pull either an illustration rare or a Mega Attack rare, as a consolation. So as of this recording, Evolving Skies ETBs are currently about 500 USD, give or take. And Ascended Heroes USDs are sitting at about, 160 to 180 USD on the open market. The value proposition for Ascended Heroes is much more attractive than Evolving Skies, and even though both sets have similar master set value, I believe that Ascended Heroes has, because of the better pull rates and the much cheaper prices of the sealed product, is the superior set to invest in right now. So just to have a comparison here, one Evolving Skies ETBs is almost 3 Ascended Heroes ETBs. So Ascended Heroes, as well being a special set, offers some additional value, and that is it has many useful reprints of very playable cards, cards that are competitive in the TCG, and it offers a little bit of additional value to people also looking to play the game.
Just to build on that, just to share my thoughts on the playability, I think it's unique to sets currently in circulation, right? Where you can actually play the cards, it's competitive allowed, right?
Yes.
And so don't be surprised that you see some cards that what most people consider bulk, you're being able to sell it for $5, $10.
Yes.
It'll help you recoup some of your sealed ripping costs, right?
That's right. So another prediction that I have for Evolving Skies and Ascended Heroes moving forward is that Ascended Heroes product will be something that people will enjoy opening for a long time. I think we can both agree with that. There is so much value in the experience of opening these packs, right? Compared to Evolving Skies, that is. The ripping experience is better, like we said. There's a higher pull rate of that middle tier of rarity, which allows you to at least, psychologically you think, okay, I'll at least pull something.
Or recoup something, right?
Yes,
With
exactly.
Evolving Skies, it's really high jeopardy.
Exactly. It's alternate art or bust basically with Evolving
Pretty
Skies, right? And most of the time it ends badly. Inversely, Evolving Skies, much like Prismatic Evolutions, has a reputation of very poor pull rates, as we just said, causing people to think twice about whether they want to really rip into their sealed collection to, possibly just get nothing if they open any of their sealed stuff, right? So people, okay, I may as well keep the value. I may as well retain my value in keeping it in its sealed form rather than ripping it and basically just getting 5-year-old air, right?
Might I add, Evolving Skies have no God packs.
Evolving Skies has no God pack. That's another thing as well. Yeah, that's right. That's a big thing. That
Yeah.
I think psychologically the prospect of pulling a God pack is huge. as
It's
well.
huge.
Yes, for sure. That's brilliant. Yeah.
And you imagine if you hold a seal in the future and you want to, sell it, 5-10 years down the road, the buyer will probably think, I actually might get a God pack out of this ETB
Yeah,
or
you
this
never know.
bundle or
You never
whatever,
know.
right? So in the future, when you do want to let go of your product, when you're trying to sell it to the person, say, hey, look, this was an era where God packs were already introduced for a couple of years.
Exactly.
And
It's a very attractive prospect for sure.
Exactly.
And at least I think there are at least 3 or 4 reports of God packs being pulled from our local card stores already. So they may not be as difficult to pull
There you go.
as you might believe. So as MJ mentioned, Ascended Heroes is a set that you would struggle to find a clear theme, at least when it compared to Evolving Skies, right? But I believe that each of these SIRs, the artwork really stands strong on its own. You have the Forest Pikachu, the Trikachu. You have the Mega Dragonite SIR, which is a Mega Evolution, long overdue for a very popular Pokemon. And certainly the art for the SIR did deliver, I think. You have the Team Rocket's Mewtwo as well. Whereas Evolving Skies hits, I believe that in the advent of the release of Prismatic Evolutions, it's kind of fighting for the spotlight there because Prismatic Evolutions itself has a very similar gimmick, I think, to Evolving Skies. They were, more than likely, they were trying to replicate that same experience as Evolving Skies when they created the Prismatic Evolution set.
And you can always argue that Evolving Skies is like a half evolution set.
Yep. And similarly, Prismatic Evolutions as well, there are things that could be counterparts to the Rayquaza alternate art, the Dragonite V. You have the Dragapult SIR, which is actually not present in the original set that Dragapult was released in, which is Twilight Masquerade. And you have things like, smaller hits like the Ceruledge EX, which is a very, very nice
cool,
artwork.
very cool. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, the Blood Moon Ursaluna as well is in that set. And the Palafin, which very interestingly is actually illustrated by the Fist of the North Star manga artist.
Ah,
Crazy, right?
No wonder.
Yeah, that's right. So, but I think because of that reason, I think that because of that conflict of interest, you could say, between Prismatic Evolutions and Evolving Skies, in that they kind of share the same theme, I do believe that Ascended Heroes will appear as its own thing, and it will grow stronger in the long run.
I actually cannot remember a time where Gengar's, Pikachu, and Mewtwo was in the same set, unless you want to go back all the way to
I mean,
base set,
even then, I don't think they were ever in the same set. That's a very interesting
right,
observation.
right. I think only like in terms of big cards, maybe only a Mew or Umbreon
right.
is missing, right, to complete the whole gang.
Exactly. I mean, the first Gengar was a fossil Gengar, right?
There you go.
Dragonite was in there with Gengar.
Yeah,
And Pikachu and Mewtwo were both in base set, right?
yeah.
So it's like almost combining those two.
Yeah. I mean, you have to go back all the way. Then you get like the Gen 1 Pokemons. Then, okay.
Exactly.
You can have all of them there.
You
Right?
have to go all the way back, and even then they were in different sets, right?
Yeah, very true. Okay, so for this segment, we are going to discuss our weapon of choice now. What we're going to do is how are we going to express our investment? Basically, how are we going to split up between sealed, slabs, raws? What is the mixture? And just as a caveat, we will do one where it's assuming we just have $1,000, but we also do one that's a little bit more general for those of you who have a lot more money, where you are not restricted by capital as well. So for myself, it's quite straightforward. I would, for Ascended Heroes, I'll focus 90% on sealed. And inside the sealed, this 90%, I would focus 60-40 display bundles versus ETB. However, I think I'll go 50-50 if I can get more Pokemon Center ETBs. Although I have to say, asterisks, right now, I don't think that they are particularly undervalued relative to the ETB. So I'm a little bit iffy on that. But generally, I have a bigger bias for display bundles simply because it's region exclusive. And as Paul mentioned earlier on, if you're willing to cross the Pacific pond, you can sell it for almost double the price in Malaysia, right? As far as the RAWs, if I can, I would like to grab hold of the Trikachu and the Mewtwo, mainly because you might be wondering where's the Gengar here, right? The Gengar SIR. And I think that because it's a Mega, it may not have the same pool as just the normal Gengar.
Interesting.
So that's why I would prioritize Trikachu, which by the way has at least 4 Pikachus in the card, if I'm not mistaken. You have to find the other 3, right? It's not easy to find. The Mewtwo looks great because if you think about it, it's the inverse of the Destined Rivals Mewtwo.
Right.
So if you ever want to create a set, you would get the Destined Rivals one as well as the Ascended Heroes one. They are flipped, right? One Giovanni is in front, the other one Mewtwo is in front.
Yes, and very interestingly, the Ascended Heroes Team Rocket's Mewtwo is illustrated by Mitsuhiro Arita.
Crazy.
Which is the
Crazy.
illustrator for the base set Charizard.
Yeah, and I want to highlight another inversion for these 2 cards is that in the Destined Rivals one, Mewtwo is looking down.
Right.
But in the Ascended Heroes one, Giovanni is looking up.
Wow, that's that's very interesting. Yeah.
So
Okay.
then smaller cards, I think I would like the Psyduck. I would dare to say apart from the Swing Psyduck, I think this is probably my favorite Psyduck. I can't remember where the Swing Psyduck is from.
Ooh, wait, Misty Psyduck is not in your list? Come on, bro. There's
Top
a
five, top five.
There is a waifu
Japanese,
on a Psyduck
yes.
card, bro.
Japanese,
This
yes.
is the OG waifu, man.
No, I think it's great, but you see, when I look at that card, and this is a mild criticism, is
Yeah.
who's the star of the show? You know, is it Misty or is it Psyduck?
Well, you get both. You don't have to choose. That's the whole
right,
point. That's
fine.
the whole point.
Fine. So I do have it in my top 5, but I would have to put the Swing Psyduck and this guy at my top 3. Let's call it.
You know,
it's close.
that's fair. That's
it's
fair.
close.
That's fair.
I really like the MARs, and if I could, I would actually prioritize the Japanese ones, the Mega Dreams, because typically Japanese cards are lower in price and also price performance compared to the English, which is a good or bad thing. You know, it depends on how you look at it. However, one of the exceptions to this rule would be if you go back to the XY era, the chase cards for like the Rayquaza, the Gengar, everything, the Japanese ones actually higher price compared to the English or very competitive.
Right.
And the
right.
reason is because the big words in the middle of the card
are in
flip.
English, right?
Yes, so the
Yes.
Japanese ones are in English and then the English ones are in Japanese.
That's right. That's right.
So because the Japanese cards are easier to grade a 10, so you can get a pristine condition, and if you're lucky, you can get a back cut. I think that's a good chance to outperform. Like, I have no hope that the Japanese Mewtwo is going to outperform the English one, but I do have more hope that the MARs will outperform the English one. But we'll see. Right now, I'm wrong.
That's very interesting. Okay.
Right now, I'm wrong because the price difference is 3. But then again, you know, there are some moments where the Japanese outdo the English. Small mention of Canary. Canary is the newest, one of the newest waifus, alongside Perfect Order's Jacinthe.
Right.
New waifus, great potential, nice card. So I would try to prioritize that as far as the trainers go. Now, with Evolving Skies, to me, I'm 50-50. I would prioritize ETB over booster bundles. Unless you can get a case, then I probably will go for booster bundles. Again, this is for people with above $1,000 budget, all right? And as far as the Raws or Slabs, I would focus on the Umbreon V, Espeon V, no VMAXs, and then the Rayquaza V Full Art. I will emphasize on the V a lot more because I think the VMAXs have, at this point in time, gone up quite a lot, and I'm not too much of a fan of the pricing. I love the art though.
Yes.
Now, Paul, you're gonna break the $1,000 budget
Exactly.
down, right?
So as MJ was saying, I mean, we had a more restricted budget. Let's face it, you know, 1,000 USD is a lot of money for a lot of us, right? So if we were constricted to this budget, and I think this applies to a lot of us, what is the right logic to go into investing in Evolving Skies and its heroes? And as I said before, that I would go 50-50 on the 2 sets. And the reason is this. So Ascended Heroes are currently sitting at 155 to 180 USD. And I would say that they are still the best value steel product. You know, you get 9 packs inside, an exclusive N-Zekrom ETB promo, and it's also very aesthetically pleasing, as MJ mentioned, to be kept sealed. Ascended Heroes booster bundles are also a decent value at around 80 to 100 USD now. And, you know, I would say these 2 products would be prime picks to take up, you know, at least a lot of our sealed budget allocation. Finally, I think we will be buying also one of each of the Evolving Skies booster packs, one of each artwork of the Evolving Skies booster packs, which when sold as an art set can actually command a small premium as well. Okay, so For Evolving Skies, apart from the art set of booster packs, we are also going to be looking at some of the undervalued single alternate arts inside the set. Believe it or not, actually, Evolving Skies does actually contain some very affordable and modestly priced alternate arts that you can buy as singles. So our remaining budget will be poured into just 2 of these. All right, so for our final sealed budget, we have an Evolving Skies art set, which is going to be an approximate cost of about $165, one of each pack artwork. And for Ascended Heroes, we have a budget of about 400. We have 3 ETBs for approximately $155 each, which totals at about 465 USD. So our sealed total right now takes up 63% of our USD budget at 630 USD total. All right, now final card buys for our $1,000 budget are actually 2 alternate arts from Evolving Skies, which I believe are 2 very undervalued cards for what they are. We have the Espeon V alternate art, priced currently at about $215, give or take, and the Sylveon V alternate art, approximately priced at only $151, believe it or not, which is crazy.
Yeah, I mean these are like after Umbreon, Sylveon, Espeons are usually the
Exactly.
chasers.
They are the number 2 and number 3 most popular evolutions,
Yeah,
right? And it's surprising to see them in their classic form at sub $300.
Crazy.
Some of these SIRs, like the Terrestrial Pikachu from
Surging
Sparks is more expensive than either of these, which is crazy considering the popularity of the Pokemon and the artwork that comes with the card as well. So the singles total for these 2 cards is approximately 366 USD, which takes up the remaining 37% of our budget, bringing our grand total, if we look. So it brings our grand total now to about 996 USD, just within our budget. So to recap again, we have the Espeon V alternate art from Evolving Skies, the Sylveon V alternate art from Evolving Skies, 3 Ascended Heroes ETBs, and hopefully they stay modestly priced, and 1 art set of Evolving Skies booster packs, 1 of each artwork.
Of course, I would also put an asterisk that because prices move so much, right?
Exactly.
Like when we finished these slides and we started filming, prices for the ETBs have already gone up.
Yes.
So we are not saying that you should follow this very strictly, like, you have to get 3 ETBs. Sometimes you can adjust yourself, you can reduce 1 ETB and then use that money to buy a little bit more raws.
Right,
Or maybe buy another pack of Evolving Skies.
Right, or you could have, instead of 3 Ascended Heroes ETBs that have gone up that high, you could have 2 Ascended Heroes ETBs and 1 Ascended Heroes booster bundle.
Yeah, that's a way to
That
play
would
it.
allow you to fall back within the $1,000 budget again. As of right now, I believe the price movement for the alternate arts for Evolving Skies, the 2 ones that we picked, have not moved that much.
Yet,
So I think those remain relatively the same.
So this is almost the end of the video. After our discussion, do you have like a change of mind? Is 50-50 too safe, or you think it's just right?
Very good. Those are good questions to ask. As of right now, I think my money is on Ascended Heroes.
Yeah, I think that's why I go 60% as well. I guess in your case, you want to hedge yourself a little bit more, right? Because you never know.
Actually, the main thing is that I believe that Ascended Heroes is a much greater bang for buck. This is something we both agree with. But it is just that the price of Evolving Skies items, either singles or sealed, is just so much more expensive, so much less economical than Ascended Heroes. So you get less bang for your buck. That's why you have to spend that much to get any amount of value at all.
Fair.
But,
Yeah.
or, if you look at it a different way, you could even put 100% into Ascended Heroes.
Yeah, I think there's no wrong. I think you always have to assess your own financial
For
situation.
sure.
This is of course a topic for another time, but just to briefly share. Look, if you put 100% in Ascended Heroes, if you have a stable job and if that's a small part of your entire financial portfolio, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But if you're using Pokemon as your main vehicle for wealth accumulation or growth, then you might want to be a little bit more cautious. But I'll just leave it there. I don't want to turn this into a personal Pokemon finance discussion. But yeah, thanks Paul for sharing your thoughts. And guys, hope you enjoyed the videos. Let us know what sort of content that you want to see going forward. You want to see more of these pack battles or other more general type of content or anything specific as well. Let us know in the comments. And of course, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.